This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Da, 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 da! You sound insane. You realize that? Yeah. The whole world gone crazy! Are you serious? Ladies and germs! Yeah. It's showtime.
Well, hello, ma'am fam out there in the world. A little inside baseball. We just on the VIP lounge recorded an episode called 7 about the film 7. And I said, hey, are there any other movies with 7 in the title? And Brian said apparently there's a new Netflix film written and directed by one Aaron Sorkin called Trial of the Chicago 7.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
We didn't even plan this.
We didn't even plan it.
It happened. Yeah.
We did because we started recording at 7 p.m. and I made sure not a second sooner or second later.
We've been hacked. I don't know that voice. That's not Kent. All right. Well, we got Batman Shane in the mix tonight. Kent has he's been wrongly arrested and accused of various crimes, and so he's not able to be with us. But hopefully, his lawyer situation is strong, and he can come join us next week. But we've got
this is America. He is innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
So, I told him not to steal that tiger, but he just kept insisting that he wanted to be the next Joe Exotic.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Right. Yeah.
Allegedly.
He will sue us.
He said
Kent Exotic.
I sent him the Jeffrey Toobin link, and he was like, "Wait, all right, I can top that." And that was the last I heard of him.
Yeah, he just said, "Hold my beer," and then we got a call from our lawyer, and it's a whole deal.
It was a whole mess. So
classic Ken.
You know how he rolls. So anyway, we are here with Batman Shane and Aquaman Brian here in the mix. Sorry, Brian, took the short
and
end
Green
of that
Lantern
one.
Richard. And
Oh, dang it! Oh, wow, that backfired real hard. All right, so
don't bring a knife to a gunfight, bro. That's the
okay. Ezra Flash Brian, but we have.
I was gonna say that's what Kent can be now. He can just be the Ezra Flash.
So we've got everyone here to talk some Aaron Sorkin and the trial of the Chicago 7. So this is, I think we talked about this a few times. I'm very stupid on this, so I always ask it very stupidly, and Brian normally has an answer. Was this Netflix, or was this COVID Netflix? I believe it was Netflix, right? Wasn't this always intended?
No, it was COVID Netflix.
It's COVID Netflix. See, I told you, I'm very stupid.
I mean, it was up in the air, so it's possible that this would have happened regardless. This feels like a movie that Netflix would have been going after, but it's at least I believe, and Shane, you may know better than me, but I believe up until even like a month ago, they were still trying to get this in theaters. And this
I'm actually uniquely qualified to answer this question. So this was a Paramount film, and it was always intended to play in theaters. And then up until about 2 months ago, because theaters were closed, and what was this movie really in a good time? What was this movie really going to make at the box office? And so we decided to call Netflix, and we sold it to Netflix. I don't know what they paid for it, but at that point it was sold to Netflix, and now it is a Netflix film in perpetuity. But when you watch the film, it does say like Paramount Pictures presents, and I think it has our logo towards the end as well. But yeah, it is a Netflix now, but this was a COVID casualty, just like Enola Holmes was, and a couple others this year.
So this is one that I've been reading about this movie. So I have a little bit. I've always had a kind of a weird interest in this story. I still have I don't know if it's behind me now. You guys can see me on Zoom. I have Abby Hoffman steal this book somewhere on my bookshelf, and I used to have a face out of it at my old apartment. And then everyone would come over and make the same joke. Oh, I'm going to steal that book. But maybe someone did because I don't see it. That's fine. He had a famous book called Steal This Book, which is sort of a revolutionary tome. But yeah. So anyway, I've always kind of this was going to be a Spielberg joint, I think, for a long time, right, Brian?
Yeah.
And then was it always Sorkin and then Spielberg? Was that the intent, or did Sorkin kind of snake it?
I think Sorkin was supposed to write and Spielberg was supposed to direct, and then
That'd be a cool comp. I mean, I think that would be really fun.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there may have even been another director in there at some point before it just became Sorkin and Sorkin at some, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah, Spielberg let this go to do something else. I can't remember, because for a while I think even Will Smith was attached to this. At one point.
Post. Let's just assume it's the Post. Because that's what
it was a Spielberg Sorkin joint at a certain point, and then obviously,
and then
eventually
Molly's
became
game,
Sorkin
and then
Sorkin.
also, but on the other side of this, Molly's game happens and is reasonably well regarded, and I think Sorkin got a little, some muscles there, and wanted to maybe become more of an auteur, which is cool. I mean, I liked Molly's Game fine, and we'll get into this. He's certainly capable. He's not Steven Spielberg.
Sure.
By that I mean he doesn't suck, but I'm kidding. But he certainly maybe wanted to do this with this. So yeah, and we're in the middle of, I don't know if it's a full Cohen-assance, but we're getting, Sacha Baron Cohen, with The Dictator and Bruno and a few other films maybe became less and less relevant, and now suddenly it's like we're back in 2006 again with Borat 2 next week, and this is a really cool performance by him. So anyway, getting into the film. So did you kind of follow this like I did, Brian and Shane? Like, I was always kind of aware of the production of this. This sort of seemed like one of those, it was always going to happen, but you never knew when, then suddenly it was happening. What about you guys?
I actually didn't follow it nearly as closely as either of you two guys did. And I'm actually surprised to learn that it was supposed to be a Spielberg thing. I didn't know that. I just assumed that Sorkin wrote it and had always intended to direct it because he directed Molly's Game, and because he's kind of, he's Aaron Sorkin. I assumed he had the juice now in his kind of career to say, like, yeah, I'm going to direct this next script that I write, or you're not going to make my script, right? I'll shop this around town until I find a studio that's going to let me direct it. So obviously, if Steven Spielberg wants to direct your movie, you say yes. That's a fairly obvious, ask. But
I didn't. He wanted to do I wrote a scathing first-person Mad About Movies biopic, and Spielberg was all in, and I said nope. Uwe Boll, Lettier, or bust, because I wanted to be really meta, and I told him some stuff.
Yeah, it's
threw some Epstein rumors around at him right in his face.
I think it's because he read your Schindler's 2 script, and it was just basically a Ralph Fiennes revenge movie, and he was like, "Wow, dude, no." Hard pass on that.
Yeah, but the whole thing was red with one girl in a black and white sweater. That was my twist.
It's a reverse Dr. Seuss book, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting to me. I did not know that about Steven Spielberg, and it definitely, we'll get into it a little bit later, but I certainly would have liked to have seen that version of the movie. But I didn't know, when Paramount announced that they were making the movie, I definitely kind of started to follow it a little bit closer, to that, and was definitely interested every time they made a cast announcement about, Eddie Redmayne or Sacha Baron Cohen or whoever. So I would definitely say that even though obviously the year has changed in terms of release schedules and stuff, even before, the pandemic hit and things started dropping, this movie was definitely very high on my list of most anticipated in the back half of 2020. So I was excited to see it for sure. What about you, Brian? It sounds like you were tracking it closer than the both of us.
Yeah, this was I just looked up while you were talking there, Shane, because I couldn't remember the timeline, but this was a Sorkin Spielberg thing in like 2007. So this script has been around for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wrote this long before, or at least some version of it before Molly's Game,
right?
And even before
Social Network. Wow.
Right. Yeah. So Sorkin came on for you're exactly right, Richard. He came on for this in 2018. So post Molly's Game, he got the whether it was the I can do that, or whether it was the, as you're saying, Shane, the juice to say I am going to do that. That's when he came in.
So according to Wikipedia, which of course has 100% journalistic integrity,
it's on the internet. It has to be true.
Yeah, it looks like, I know. I'll send you some links on. Well, half of it's in Russian, but you'll like it. You should read this stuff about this laptop. It's crazy. But this that'll age well. It looks like the 2007 writer's strike was part of what made Spielberg drop out.
Oh, this was like a casualty of that writer's strike? Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
So this looks like maybe it was a passion project with Sorkin he was trying to get done for a while, and that. But that would have been so cool. Hopefully we can get. I mean, Sorkin's a good enough director now where maybe he just does his own stuff from here on out. But I would, and you know me, I'm a little bit more Spielberg skeptical. Let's say that 3 times fast than certainly you, Brian, and some people. But that's like a match made in heaven to me, because both of them handle sentimentality in such different, but it's such a big part of what they do. It would be interesting to see how they address that together. Pardon me. So anyway, did you guys know this story at all? Were you aware of that coming in, or were you just, Brian? You just saw Eddie Redmayne was in it and wanted to check it out? Or?
You know me too well. I knew. I would say I knew of this story. I did not know this story very well. And so I'd say the first 20, 30 minutes of this movie, I wouldn't say confused, but I felt like it was a bold choice. And ultimately, I think it paid off well. I don't want to give away my grade at the end of all this, but I think it worked. But it was a bold choice to not have any sort of recap or anything of like what happened for the first 30 to 45
Well, you didn't learn this in school? You don't constantly talk to your friends about the...
Well, that's what I thought. Like, as I was watching it, I was like, is this just one of those things that, like, we went to school in Texas, and so, you're not
you don't get Jerry Rubin? You didn't do a whole class on Jerry Rubin at Haltom High?
Yeah. To Brian's point, to Brian's point, we all went to school in Texas, so I knew this story pretty well. About 7 dirty hippies that got what they deserved. That's the version that we were taught when I was in school. So
Yeah, but no. See, I kind of knew what the gist of the story was, but I knew who Abby Hoffman is, and I guess Tom Hayden, like that name sort of rings a bell. But most of these other guys that I didn't know.
He was the concierge for the Godfather family, right? Tom Hayden.
yes. But yeah, it's not which I prefer.
Consigliere. I don't know why I combined concierge.
I do that too.
Consigliere. I was gonna let you run with it because I liked it, but I was like, that's a new word. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. I apologize.
I struggle with that word as well.
He'll schedule your murder and he'll put a mint on your pillow.
Exactly. He'll tell you. Yeah, absolutely. He will tell you some great restaurants locally, and then legally make sure you're good when you hire a hit. Do you need transportation? They both do that.
Tickets to the opera, sir?
Yes. So anyway, I knew a little bit of this, but I prefer that when I'm going to go see a biopic or based on a true story or whatever. It's nice to not know every detail and note along the way, because then you just spend your time not necessarily saying, well, that's not how it happened. Kent's not here to do the voice, so I'm sorry, I can't. But legally, I can do it, but it didn't happen that way.
Yeah,
that's my impression of Kent doing the impression. Yeah.
Yeah, you either spend your time doing that or like trying not to do that, and so this was a good way to just be able to watch the movie, because I did not know. I knew the 2 sentence. I did not know the full paragraph, as it were. So
sure.
What about you, Shane? You have any background on this stuff?
No, I mean, I honestly, I did read about it like in high school history or whatever, but my interest in it really kind of picked up when I read that Sorkin was making the movie. At that point, I kind of did the Wikipedia dive on it and just kind of got a handle on the story, but a pretty kind of half-baked research or whatever, nothing too deep. I certainly haven't read any books on it or anything like that. I have not read.
You wrote your master's thesis on Hubert Humphrey, though. So
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, what a great candidate. Did fantastic in '68. So I had a very brief, like you said, dude. I knew the 2-sentence version of this. I did not know the full paragraph or even the full book version of this story. So It was great, kind of seeing the movie play out, even though I knew the broad strokes, I didn't really know any of the details. And so some of the moments in the film that were designed to be shocking shocked me because I didn't know that they were coming.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think the real showy part of this is Frank Langella as Julius Hoffman is like a incredible antagonist. I almost said protagonist. That would have been funny, right? I just think
he's the hero of my story.
I'm telling you, man, those dirty hippies, they got what they deserved.
USA.
Justice was served. You know what I mean?
But he does a really great job, man. He's a real heavy in this, and like a villain we haven't seen in a while that doesn't have, that isn't Josh Brolin in a ton of CGI or something,
Sure. It's fun is maybe not the right word, but it's to watch him and Mark Rylance, two of the the great actors of their time, go sort of toe to toe for stretches of this was awesome.
I recently watched, I don't know why, I was flipping through stuff and I watched Frost Nixon for the first time since like that year.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie.
The Michael Sheen, right? Where he plays.
The Michael Sheen and Frank is so good in that, man. He's Langella is so awesome in that part. And it's not, what's great about it is it's not like a impression of Nixon, right? It's like this kind of he does his own thing with it. It's such a cool, he makes Nixon like oddly weirdly likable because he's so apparently, by the way, have either of you ever read or heard about his memoir?
No. Langella
has a memoir, and apparently it's just like, I banged everyone.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah.
And I need to read it.
He's like Wilt Chamberlain-y. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm adding that to the old Barton Reedy list.
If you are a Langella fan, and I am now, there's a movie that I would recommend, and I'm forgetting the title. I'll see if I can't look it up real quick. But basically, he plays an elderly gentleman, and it's like set in the near-ish future. And his daughter buys him like this home assistant robot. Yeah. And it's basically, I know we all hate this phrase, but it's kind of a tour de force performance from him because it's literally just him acting against a robot.
Yeah. So that's draft day, right? That's draft day?
Yeah. That's the one. That is the one. Yeah. I'll look up what the name of that movie is.
Robot and Frank.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly, it's very, he's Frank and he plays a guy named Frank.
Right. It was Robot and Sylvester, but then Stallone dropped out.
Yeah. And then it was... And then, never mind. So it's he's great in this. As this, like, he has to kind of go up against so many really hard performances, and he's like a scene partner to everyone in a weird way, and he's just really impressive to me. I also am kind of in the bag for him. I think he rules, so maybe that was that.
Awesome. Since Eddie,
What's weird is he dated Whoopi Goldberg for 5 years after that, and that's the funniest movie ever to think about an on-set romance. You know what I mean? The pairing of them together.
She broke up with Theodore Rex for him, is how it comes out from his memoir. Anyway.
All right, so
I'm never gonna stop making Theodore Rex jokes.
Absolutely
because we had to
not.
watch that movie.
Nor should you. Let's go through the rest of the. This is a true ensemble movie. There's no real lead to it, but it's a true ensemble. So, I'm gonna butcher this. What'd you guys think of who plays Bobby Seale? Yahya. I'm thinking it's Yahya Abdul Mateen the second.
Yeah, he's great.
He was great, man. I love when you find someone new like that. He was he was so he's incredibly cool.
He's so good in that. He is incredible in Watchmen, the HBO.
Yeah, see, I've still yet to watch that, but I'm going to. I listen to the soundtrack a lot because I listen to a lot of Trent Reznor when I read.
Yeah,
sure. I haven't.
And
seen
also, whether you like the movie Aquaman or not, he was great as Black Manta in the movie.
No, he's not, Shane. No, he's not. He's terrible in that movie. I'm sorry. He's awful in that movie.
The scenes where he has his helmet off, I think he was pretty good, right? The scenes where he was a
freaking Power Ranger villain in that movie. I think this guy is awesome. I think he's got an incredible, and it's probably not his fault, but he was terrible in that movie. You're being too kind.
He was just in something else like 2 months ago, was he not?
Yeah, he's a hot name. Like he's going to be popping up in more stuff because he's in that Candyman remake. He's the lead in that. That was supposed to come out. I don't even know when. Some point this year. He's gonna be all over the place. He's really, really good. And this, you're right. Like Richard, this is like that's a hard role to play, and not have it just be showy, right? Like any Sorkin movie, it's real easy. I think this is the balance that actors have to walk with a Sorkin movie. Is he gives you this script that's just like all show, like it's so flashy and incredible, and it's got to be tough to take what he does and dial it down to an actual character. And I don't mean that as a I don't know, a knock on Sorkin, but like his instinct is to make it as showy as possible, and then you kind of have to distill it a little bit. And I thought he did a magnificent job with that character. I think it was great.
Agreed. I think that Sorkin, Tarantino, and David Mamet are kind of the three writers that they have their very own distinct kind of cadence to their dialogue. And I think certain actors can do it and certain actors just can't, you know? Yeah. And so I think that a Sorkin audition has got to be fairly easy because it's very apparent after one monologue if you can do this or you can't.
Yeah, it's almost like you're trying out for a band, right? Can you play this style of music?
Right.
Can you sit in and play drums with, these three guitar players? Right? So we've talked a lot of guff on this show. Brian, what did you think of Redmayne?
I thought it was interesting to be able to understand what he's saying as a human being. That was a plus. I thought this was a good use of him. Like, I'm gonna be grumpy, maybe not grumpy, because this year is so wheels off. In a normal year, I think his performance is better than fine. Like, it's good. It was a good performance. I'm very appreciative that the movie doesn't hinge every moment on him, because I think that's a mistake. I don't think he's nearly as charismatic as Hollywood seems to think that he is. And so this was a good role for him. I think it's a complicated role, but not overly so. And so he doesn't fall too far into the showy category for most of it. At the end, I don't want to get too far in spoilers, but the end is definitely a showpiece for him. And I think he did that fine. He did okay with it, but he was not for me at least, he was not the focal point from a performance standpoint through the course of the movie. And I think the movie is better for that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think this is what he is best at from a performance standpoint, is just being part of an ensemble, giving a few really good moments, and then the rest is fine. It's just when it's Theory of Everything, or it's what else have we seen him in recently? We were just like, good gracious, it's just a beating or the Fantastic Beasts movies. When he's the focal point, I'm out.
Live that new life.
Yeah, exactly.
God, you want to talk,
Newt
Brian?
Strong.
You want to talk about movies that are painfully aggressive and like hard to watch or unpleasant to watch? God, those Fantastic Beasts movies are those for me. They're like
such a bummer.
Oh, they're such a hard bummer. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I think, Brian, to your point though, like I think that's why he's good in this, is because he's playing second or third fiddle, right? He's not. This is not the Eddie Redmayne show, and I think the movie, the story and the movie benefits from it because he's not. The movie is on his shoulder. Yeah. Star of Jupiter Ascending, Eddie Redmayne.
So I'm kind of building here, if you guys can't tell. What'd you guys think of Jeremy Strong? I know Brian's anti-Jeremy Strong as a non-Succession watcher. Shane, are you a Succession watcher?
Oh, love Succession, dude. I think it's great. And Jeremy Strong, like, he's also had a pretty great run of things too, right? Because he's good in Succession. I think you guys saw The Gentleman. He clearly was having fun in The Gentleman.
Brian is anti him in that, yeah.
But yeah. But like, I think he was having fun while playing that, and then now playing this role again. This seems like does that role not seem like it would be super fun to play? Just kind of like an aloof stoner. You get some of the best gags in the movie, right? Like, I thought he was great. He was basically most of the comedic relief, and obviously, like, he's got the range to play. Someone from like super sharp and smart to Kendall from Succession, and then to play someone kind of stupid and aloof to like a movie like this. So I'm on like, if you could buy Jeremy Strong stock, I would definitely do it. I would, I think he's going places for sure.
All right, here we go for the counter proposal, Mr. Brian Gill.
This is the first time that I didn't want to punch him in the face. So I feel like he's trending in the right direction.
You need to watch Succession, bro, because then you'll still want to punch him in the face. But you'll be like, oh, he's doing his job.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm never gonna watch Succession. It's never gonna.
Yes,
happen.
you are.
I'm anti-Succession just because of the hype. I'll watch it at some point. You know how I am.
I know.
It'll happen
exactly.
eventually.
You're gonna watch freaking season 3 of some CW show. You might. It's 2 seasons so far. 20 episodes. Yeah. You'll actually like it. I promise you'll like it.
I believe you. It's
because it's funny. It's the funniest family show since Arrested Development.
Can't handle the hype.
But the hype's gone down a little bit. It's quieted. Okay. So now's the
I'll
time
wait till
to
it's bad and then I'll watch it. Then I'll feel good. Then I can watch it. But yeah, right. I want to punch him in the face. He's a very punchable.
And that's the thing. So does everybody on the show, Succession, too. Like all the other characters hate him as well.
That's why he's so well used.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed him in this. And so maybe it's the makeup and the facial hair and stuff. Maybe looking like a hippie makes him less punchable to me.
The last one I do. What'd you guys think of Keaton and Rylance? 2 legends.
Oh my gosh, had no idea Keaton was in this, or at least I'd forgotten.
He kind of gets like just pushed out. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Cool. Good to see Batman on screen. I'm with Brian. I completely forgot Michael Keaton was in this movie. So when they walk into that room and he's in there, both Angela and I were like, oh, like we were kind of surprised. Yeah. But he's great as always. We're definitely.
And when he says Angela, Shane watches most of his films with Angela Lansbury. They're super close.
That's right. We're close. Yeah. Murder She and I Wrote is our new sequel.
That's our new podcast.
Yeah.
Murder She Potted with with Shane and Angela Lansbury.
Yeah. It's great.
What about Rylance?
Dude, Rylance is definitely becoming one of those guys that he shows up once every 18 months, rocks it, and then you never hear about him again until he's just in a movie.
Yeah, it's super cool that he's continuing to do this, but it's not on the West End in London, and we can actually all see it.
Yeah. Right. No, it's exactly right. It's exactly right.
Apparently always been this, but, unless you're rich and in London, you didn't get to see it, so this is pretty awesome.
If somebody was like, if you ask somebody who's the best actor in the world and they said Mark Rylance, there's really not an argument against that. Like I don't know that would be my answer, but he's so freaking good in everything that he has been in. And it's just, we didn't ever see him in things until like 8 years ago. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, this dude is incredible. So
yeah, like I said, he just pops up once every 18 months in some movie. And every time be like, whoa, this guy is good. And then boom, he's gone for another 2 years. And you're like, but he's great.
All right, last one, then we get into more of the movie. Sasha, what'd you guys think? This is the first kind of super serious Sasha role as Abby Hoffman, who's not a super serious person, but was sort of intentional with his lack of seriousness. And what'd you think of Sasha in this sort of non-straight comedy role?
Speak for yourself, bro. The Brothers Grimsby was, pretty serious if you ask me. That's
I consider that. Yeah, no, you're right. That's the Kramer versus Kramer for our generation.
Now go ahead, Brian.
No, I thought he's great. I thought this is a great use for him too.
He's a great actor, man.
He really is. He's he's another one of those guys that you can totally forgive somebody for thinking, this is the guy that does Borat. Like, he can't be a great actor. I totally get that thought. And then you see him in something like, but even in Borat, you're like, dude, it's a really ridiculously good performance.
I always say, he's improving with people that don't know they're improving. That's the hardest thing in the world.
It's incredibly hard.
If the goal of acting is to convince you that you're not the person that you are, he is the greatest actor on the planet because he can literally stand 6 inches from your face and you don't know it's him.
Yeah, it's totally right. He's great in this, but I think this is a great use for him if this launches. I know he did The Spy on Netflix last year, which was, I watched some of that. I thought he was very good, and I think I just fell off of it at some point, but he was good in that. But if this is the launching point for him as a serious, quote unquote, serious actor, then like, this is a great one to choose. This is a great way to do it, because it is, you're right, Richard, like, it's funny. He's a funny character. He's irreverent, and so that sort of fits into what he does best at times. But it's also, it's very, very heartfelt, and he has 2 of the more sentimental moments in the movie. He hits them hard. Like, he does them really, really well. Right. I thought he was great. It wouldn't shock me at all if 5 years from now we're saying, Sacha Baron Cohen just won an Oscar, and he's had two or three great performances over the last couple of years and stuff. It made me bummed too that we didn't get him as Freddie Mercury. You see him do this role, and you're like, oh my gosh, he would have crushed that movie.
He would have won
so much better. Oh,
I mean, I know Idiot won, but he would have won it harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorkin obviously loves writing, the smartest guy in the room, right? That's kind of every script he's ever written. There's always like one or two of those characters. I don't think this movie had a character that was smarter than everybody else in the room, but Abby Hoffman was definitely like the snarkiest guy in the room. And I think, Sacha Baron Cohen played that pitch perfectly. He really kind of hit that note where he's smarter than you think he is, but he's also always got some sort of nasty comeback, in his back pocket that he'll whip out if you piss him off, and I think he did a fantastic job as well. I think because this year is obviously completely off the rails at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him get an Oscar nom this year.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah.
And I mean, he'll lose to Ben Schwartz for Sonic, but yeah, no, for sure he'll be nominated.
Yeah, and so he was great. I mean, it was
You sort of segued into what I wanted to talk about. So is this going to be the movie of the year? Because if it is, man, I mean, this is a good movie, but that's a bad year. But I mean, COVID's not to be COVID doesn't care about our movies. So what do you think, Brian? What do you think?
I think this is the front runner for Best Picture at the moment.
What do we have coming out that's gonna give this a run for its money?
It's so hard to even know at this point, because there were movies that weren't
Mank is coming out in a month. That fair. Could give it a run for its money, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that one will be big. I think
the Five Bloods, perhaps still from stuff that's already come out.
I think Chloe Zhao's movie Nomadland is going to be.
Oh yeah,
I think that's going to be.
McDormand, right?
Yeah, I think that's the deal. I think it's going to be McDormand is going to. But right now, Society has that as the number one nominee coming into along with Mank, along with this movie, which is number 2, and then News of the World, that Tom Hanks movie that supposedly comes out.
The Tom Hanks, yeah.
And then it's like The Five Bloods, which you mentioned, and On the Rocks, and then a few movies either.
Man.
Sure.
I would not be surprised to see this movie win Best Screenplay, right? Because it is Aaron Sorkin, and not just take the pedigree out of it. It's a great screenplay, right? The dialogue sizzles, right? The story moves right along. I would be surprised to see it get there's 10 nominees or whatever, so it might get a nominee, but I don't think this is in contention for Best Picture. I mean, I'm not going to ruin my grade or whatever, but I will say that is my only big knock on this film is that as good of a writer as Aaron Sorkin is, his directing style leaves a little something to be desired, right? I mean, obviously he kind of likes pointing his camera just at the actors and kind of watching them talk. And as much as, it's fine to see that, I would have loved to see somebody with a little bit more of a directorial background kind of liven up the movie a little bit visually. Doesn't even necessarily have to be a David Fincher, right? Somebody that talented. But we've even seen Danny Boyle direct an Aaron Sorkin script. We've seen Rob Reiner direct an Aaron Sorkin script. And I think that all three of those movies that I just mentioned are better visually than The Trial of Chicago 7. So that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm disappointed that we didn't get a Spielberg on this because I think that the movie would have been even better. Exact same script, exact same actors. I think visually it just would have had a better presentation, and it would have just been a little bit more enjoyable to watch. Did you guys feel that at all? I mean, it's not bad, but there was nothing super special about the way this film was made or kind of watching it. You could almost listen to it.
It felt like a flashback in a West Wing episode, but I sort of lended that to maybe that's Netflix too, that I'm watching it, on my TV. I don't know if maybe there's not much quote unquote cinematic quality to this, but I didn't see it on a big screen. So it's hard. Maybe if I saw this at the Angelica, that I would dig it a little more, but in that way.
Right.
So it's just sort of it gets an incomplete on that. It felt like a really good episode of TV because I watched it. Honestly, I watched this on where I'm sitting right now on my computer. I didn't even throw it up on the TV just because I don't know, I'm lazy. So that I'm not going to demerit the filmmakers on that at all because of lazy Richard watched this one step above watching on his phone. But the phone is so porned up that I can't.
Can't even click the home button anymore.
There's nothing. It's unusable. I can't even call on it. It's like, it's fun at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, what about you? Did you feel like just from a purely visual standpoint, like I'm not saying it's bad. Make no mistake. I'm just at multiple times I thought this could be better. This could be more interesting.
It feels like an HBO show.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't see that stuff as much as you or Kent do. I mean, that's definitely the weak point in his game at this point is where the camera goes. What kind of probably even like how we're gonna light the scene or how we're gonna frame the scene and things like that. That's definitely the weak spot. I mean, but this is 100% getting nominated for Best Picture. 100%. There's no in this garbage trash year.
I think even in most years it would.
Yeah, I think so too because
I don't
it has
think it
the
would
right.
win most years.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I mean, it has the right. I mean, it has the narrative that we're looking for in a Best Picture nominee. So it's for sure getting. Now, whether he gets nominated for director, I could take or leave. But I'm with you. I definitely believe he will be nominated.
Who directed Sonic?
He'll probably win script and then But this is definitely a bit. So it didn't bother me. I see what you're saying, Shane. There's certainly I would love to see him work. I mean I like it better when he writes the movie and someone else directs it.
Yeah,
especially because he is probably the best screenwriter maybe ever. I don't know, but however you feel about that, because he is such a great screenwriter, he is never working with a trash director. He always gets to pick, I have my choice of Fincher or Spielberg or Reiner or whoever you want to put on that list of like, these are the greats, the Bulls of the world, obviously.
Lettiers.
That's the dream, is to see like In the Name of the King 6, directed by Uwe Boll, but written by Sorkin
with the walk and talks. The walk and talks through those caves
with the orcs.
Bro. Oh my gosh. Those orc walk and talks.
Man, talk about sexy. But yeah, like
your turn on. Look at these nipples.
But yeah, like because he is as great as he is, he gets to kind of pick the directors that he works with, and so you're never working with somebody who's like not one of the greats. And so it's really hard. In some ways you want to give him a break of like, it kind of stinks in a way that we're disappointed that he's directing it, because it's it's because of how great he is and the pedigree of people that he gets to work with. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine from a director standpoint. It hit all the notes right. The one thing that he does know how to do as a director very, very well is to highlight his big moments in the script and hit those hard. And he's at least advanced enough as a director to not overdo it, because again, on the page, it's real easy, I think, to overdo what he does, because it's so incredible what he puts there. It's very hard for that not to turn into like, now's my time for the showiest thing you've ever seen in your whole life.
Right.
And he does a great job. I thought this was better than Molly's game from the standpoint of figuring out when to hit those highs and when to kind of play, bring it back down a little bit.
Agreed 100%. And again, for the record, I am not saying that it was poorly directed. Sure. It was well directed. It just at multiple points I thought a better director could have elevated this just a little bit higher, and I would have liked to have seen that.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
God, now I like can't stop thinking about it. Like I want to find, not that I have any power to do so, but now I want to find a project that Sorkin can write that Spielberg would direct, because that would be, you're right, that would be an incredible pairing.
The Post 2.
Yeah. But I mean, you joke, Richard, but like, it's been a while since Spielberg has worked with a truly great script and screenwriter. And so it'd be interesting to see. And I think as the resident
awesome.
Spielberg nut, he's definitely lost his fastball. I think I said this on the Ready Player One episode. I think Spielberg is still capable of one more like great classic Spielbergian film. But I think
maybe even two more, in my opinion.
Yeah,
honestly.
sure, it totally could happen. But I think
as the skeptic, I mean, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think the odds of that increase if you give him like a truly great script at this point.
Absolutely.
I don't know that he has. I don't know that he has the fastball to really pull out the script and the direction on a great movie at this point.
And that is it's West Side Story, right?
Yeah. So it could be.
Actually, could rule, by the way, because Tony Kushner is awesome, and he's awesome.
I mean, Quentin Tarantino has said a couple of times that directing is a young man's game, right? I mean, it takes so much energy to kind of, to get up there and do it. I just don't know. I'm not saying that Spielberg can't make a great film, but I don't think Spielberg has the energy or the, kind of the desire anymore to make an Indiana Jones or to make a movie that's as high energy as like a Jurassic Park. So while I do think that
it doesn't help that he
capable,
does like 2 movies every 18 months, by the way.
Right. And that's
I wish he would slow down a little bit.
It's not that I don't think he can't make another great movie. I just don't think he's ever going to make a movie like a great movie like Indiana Jones. I think you're going to get something along the lines of like Bridge of Spies or something that is also really good, but just a lot lower energy than, when he was 25 and directing. Those
are the kind of movies of his that I love. Yeah. I mean, obviously my favorite is War Horse, but after that, Catch Me If You Can. No, Catch Me If You Can, Bridge of Spies, that stuff is to me what I love all that. But then he's so backloaded. Like since 2012, he's made like 6 or 7 movies. It's crazy. Yeah. Like, I just wish he'd slow down a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not a super fan like you, Brian, but yeah, he's probably the greatest, blockbuster and whatever. He's the most versatile director ever. I want him to make awesome movies. It just he seems a little backed up at the moment. So maybe COVID will slow him down a little bit.
Sure. And I looked at it as a good thing that he dropped out of directing Indy 4 or whatever it is. And
because there is no Indy 4. Well, exactly. I didn't know that happened. This is your breaking news. Do we know who's doing it?
It's
James
Mangold,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's James Mangold.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that on the show. You're right. I just blanked it out because that is actually awesome.
I'm super in on this, but now you just got to get rid of Harrison Ford. I love him to death.
One more
but he's 85 years old. Like he's not Indiana Jones anymore.
No, he can do it. Just no monkeys, no aliens. That's all we need.
And no Shia. Let's also set that rule too.
Shia could have been fine. Just not maybe the wrong time.
I want Shia, but smoking in that truck.
To be fair, I'm with you there, Brian. It wasn't Shia's fault. He was bad in that movie. It was the script's fault, but the concrete's already been set there.
I mean, hypothetically, if this movie existed,
if there was any for, which does exist.
Totally. To your point, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He has 23 projects listed as in development on IMDb right now. Now, Spielberg? I know he is not directing all those things. They are, he produces. He's very prolific on that front. Right. But still, he has a lot going on. And maybe if he was coming to me and you for advice, that would be the thing that I would say is like,
well, he needs the money, so he's just chilling out there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just trying
to
pull back
on some of these, bro. Hand some of them off, and let's try to make a great movie again. Yes, I'm sorry. We got
because at this point, like cynically, like the only thing that's going to increase the Spielberg legacy are great directorial films.
Sure.
Like no one's gonna give a crap if he was like, he was a producer on that movie that made a lot of money. Like. He has tons of money. He's a billionaire probably or close to. He's good. His legacy's set. You either need to retire and just this is my legacy or chase that white whale of 1 to 3 more great directorial projects because that's the only thing that's going to improve upon your legacy.
Yeah. It's super annoying on just quick side note. It's super annoying when you watch a trailer and like a director gets called a visionary that you don't think deserves it. It's even more annoying when in the middle of a trailer, it'll say like from the producers of Get Out. And you're like, what does that matter at all?
I know.
That is not applicable to this movie. And that bothers me so much.
Sure. Sure. But there's about 5 names that you can tag onto that has some sway. It's Spielberg. It was Nolan with Man of Steel. I don't know if he's, gone back
probably
to that.
still is Nolan.
Sure.
I don't think
but
that,
he has
because he didn't
Jordan
stick around
Peele
for the
has
rest.
That.
James Cameron probably still has that if he wants to tack his name on something.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, but yes, sorry to tangent that hard, but
I'm just gonna keep throwing that joke out.
But yeah, I would love to see Sorkin hand a script. I would for both parties. I would love to see Spielberg work with Sorkin, but I would also love to see Sorkin.
Yeah, and I'm cool
hand
with
some of these movies over to his.
I'm cool because
great directors.
Molly's Game and this are both fine.
Yeah,
or good, better than fine. We're gonna give these a good grade, I would imagine. I'm fine with Sorkin still doing writer director stuff. I just wish maybe 2 writer director, and then on that third one, pass it off to whatever crazy stud filmmaker that is dying.
I agree with that for sure.
Just 2 for you, 1 for them. Like from here on out would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Cool. All right. So should we grade this bad boy out?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's grade. I'll go first. I'm gonna give this I really like this. I thought it was really smart. It was prescient, but not like too much on the nose prescient. I'm going to give this a solid A-. Shane, what about you?
Same grade, A-. Like I said, I thought the performances were great. The script was great. I just wanted to see a little bit more interesting visuals from a different director, but A-, absolutely.
Brian?
Yeah, I go a little higher. I go A. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Sorkin did a great job of sort of distilling this whole thing into a 2-hour-ish movie. I appreciate that. This definitely felt like a movie that was going to end up being 2.5 or 3 hours long, and it wasn't. I liked that. And it wasn't, I thought the other thing he did that maybe we didn't touch on was I thought he did a pretty good job of sort of, downplaying his Sorkin-ness to some degree, like of not letting that becoming becoming the story of the script and the story of the movie and stuff. So
Molly's Game the same way. He's like weirdly less Sorkin-y when he directs. I think he's afraid of it than when he just writes and hands off to someone.
Sure.
Which maybe is why I like Sorkin-y stuff. So I
no, that's totally true.
I think he kind of guards against that if he's going to direct it. But maybe that's just happenstance with this one because he wrote it, not maybe intending to direct it. But I don't know. Sure. I don't know what the rewrite sitch was and all that. Sure. But
someone once told me that they hated Aaron Sorkin's stuff because nobody talks like that. And then my point was, but everybody should talk like that. We should all aspire to be that smart. If you can
talk like that, you should talk like that. Like
we should all aspire to be that smart and to be better. Right?
And to be to that point, we recorded this whole episode. I'm just going to reveal it now. Walking down various hallways, the 3 of us.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm out of breath.
Yeah, that's how witty we are. Alrighty, team. Well, another strong episode in the books. We'll throw this one. This may darn well be Best Picture. Is this bad to say? I hope it's not. Not that it's a bad movie at all, but that would suck. Even with COVID, if this is best picture, but we shall see. Hopefully,
it's still way too early. We got 2 more months, and there could be 7 other bangers that come out before the end of the year. So,
or there could be 0 other bangers, Shane. So
that's also true. Yeah,
not to be a pessimist. So, alrighty then. So you can find us on social media. You can find Shane on Facebook at Shane Byerly, BIERLEY, I believe. You can find Brian and I on Twitter at BGill12 or at Richard Barden. You can find the show at Mad About Movies on Twitter or madaboutmoviespodcast.com. Check us out. And if you want more of this sort of tomfoolery and more, honestly, Batman Shane, he shows up a lot on throwback episodes, which, as you may or may not know, are exclusive to the VIP community over at Mad About Movies Podcast /VIP. It's a Patreon. It's $4 a month. We do minimum of 4 extra episodes a month, oftentimes many more. So, $1 for an extra episode for your commute and all that, and supports the show. Also, there's a Discord, which we all love. We are all members of and talk to VIP members all the time on there, speaking our wares on Mad About Movies, Mad About Music, Mad About Architecture, mad about Dana Gould, 90s comedian Dana Gould. There's a whole thread there.
Mad about Brett Butler thread is like
Brett. Yeah, mad about Brett. Mad about Brett Butler. Mad about Grace Under Fire. A lot of stuff. It gets hyper specific, but it's good. No, but we have all kinds of good stuff, threads on there from Mad About Food to Mad About Music and all that stuff. You can talk with us and fellow VIPs. There's several hundred people in that feed messaging constantly 24 hours a day. And even if you just kind of like our show, I would advise, becoming a VIP, listen or listen not to the extra episodes, but that VIP community is awesome of people that I guarantee you will like and bond with and talk about everything you like all day or day. And especially in these times of social distancing, it gives us some level of social ability therein. So, alrighty then, we'll see Kent here soon. He'll be back here in the VIP and regular feeds next week, and we will be talking all kinds of good stuff. And until then, we will see you at the Screenema.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face.
They're making me yah-yah. Your salads and scrambled eggs.